You ever seen a Yellar-belly walleye before? What's the deal with Barotrauma anyway? And a couple of bass heads are still just dominating the walleye tournament scene. That and more coming up right now in Target Walleye's Top 5 presented by Seafoam. Let's dive on in. Number 1. Check out this Yellar-belly walleye. Jesse Meyer caught the freak of nature soaking a slip bobber on a southern Alberta reservoir. Wow. This other snap, it looks like the thing's wearing a tie-dye shirt made out of rotten bananas or something. I'm gonna attempt to get my Bill Nye on for the next 30 seconds or so just bear with me. Bill. So apparently fish scales will receive incoming white light and turn that white light into blue or yellow, which makes green. But in these strange golden walleyes, there's likely some mutation that stopped them from converting that white light into blue light. So it's not that these walleyes have gained a yellow pigment, it's that they lost the ability to produce the blue colors that make their scales look green. This is just what I've been told, so don't shoot the messenger. Either way, regardless, that fish is just fun to look at. Number 2. Did you see the giant, almost 14-pounder that Lee Livesey caught on Lake Oahe, South Dakota while pre-fishing for the Bassmaster Elites? Such an insane fish, my goodness. Nice fish. Big eyes, but a nice fish. Lee caught the behemoth drop-shotting with a net-bait crushworm in 74 feet of water. Obviously, the Barotrauma is real with that walleye. Now, Lee said that he stopped fishing that deep so that he didn't catch or kill any more fish, and he didn't even mean to catch and kill this fish because he wasn't specifically targeting walleyes. It was an incidental little bycatch, but I guess it resulted in the fish of an absolute lifetime. So those eyes bugging out like that, all the weird things going on, ultra deep water, what the heck is Barotrauma anyway? That brings us to number 3. So barotrauma is essentially tissue damage that's caused by the rapid decompression that happens when a fish is brought up from ultra deep waters. So walleyes hold a certain amount of gas in their swim bladder so that they remain neutrally buoyant, and essentially that gas volume doubles when you bring them up out of deep water. Some fish, like lake trout for instance, can burp out this gas, which is why you'll see air bubbles in the water when you're reeling them up. Walleyes can't burp out the gas, so they're stuck with an overinflated swim bladder and a whole bunch of other issues. Internal issues. So typically, once you start fishing in 30-ish feet of water or better, that's when barotrauma becomes substantially more likely. And now there's this myth out there that if you reel the fish up really slow, they'll be fine, and that's false. Even if you reel it up as slow as you can, it's too fast at that depth, and even if you see that fish swim off when you let it go, it's likely going to die later. It's already too late. So either 1, don't do it, target shallower fish, or 2, catch what you need to keep for dinner and keep every fish that you catch, no matter how big or small, and then get out of there when you're done and you have your fish. I guess there's a third option too. There's some fancy decompression devices out there, mostly used by the saltwater crowd, and they're kind of expensive. I've read some studies recently, and it's pretty fascinating how they could work on the walleye side of things. More on that later. Number 4. I've got another humpback walleye coming your way because, well, where else are you going to see it? This one was caught by Brady Kingsland. He was fishing Lake Winnipeg in Manitoba, and yikes. I've got to say, my favorite comment under that post was from Mike Harris on Facebook, who said he's graphed that fish on his hummingbird before. You get it? Because the mark is squiggly and the fish is... Alright, number 5. Tom Wynn and Nate Wolski cannot be stopped. The duo just won the AIM State Championship and Team of the Year. Oh, and did I mention they won both of those titles last year too? Back-to-back everything.
Going back to back.
Little reminder, these are the bass heads that converted to fishing walleye tournaments just a couple years back. They've been using off-the-wall bass fishing techniques in these walleye derbies and lighting it up, winning almost everything they enter. They've literally won national level walleye tournaments by flipping and skipping docks on purpose for walleyes, throwing Texas rig crayfish plastics at riprap, micro finessey bass stuff out deep for suspended fish, you name it. I read an interesting couple of quotes from Tom in a recent AIM press release on how he says people think bass are dumb, but he thinks they're the most educated fish in the water because they get fished for more often, they see more baits, they learn more lessons. And walleyes are predator fish too. We're the ones who think that we need live bait to fool them into biting. Which is funny because you watch these bass tournaments online, whether it's MLF or Bassmaster Live, you're seeing these bass pros accidentally catching walleyes, and they're almost always big, good ones. Now, bass fishing techniques might not catch you as many fish as the old school, slow and subtle, finessey live bait things, but it's a really great way to catch maybe the biggest walleye of your life. And it's really cool to see a couple of guys committing to these techniques in walleye tournaments, just going out there shooting for 5 bites in the entire day, and if they get those 5 bites, they get the win. Hero or zero. Congrats, fellas. It's really fun to watch. That wraps up this week's top 5. A big shout out to Seafoam for keeping us running smooth and making this video series possible. Thank you, Seafoam. If you want more walleye related content like this, sign up for our free Target Walleye emails at targetwalleye.com, and I'll see you back in 7.